אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחייב בנעימתה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, רב להושיע.
Oh,
And now you can hear us, right? Perfect. So everything again. Shalom, shalom. Hasameach. Welcome back here to this special edition of Feast Talk Shows. Come on, don't laugh. You know, it was on purpose in order to make it more funny.
Okay.
No, it wasn't on purpose. So it's good to be here that we are celebrating and we are remembering the promises of YaHuWaH to his people, Israel. And we are part of the people because of what?
Of his love.
I need to repeat exactly the same way you said.
Exactly the same. Yeah. And
Because?
you were, because
Of his love, you said? And what else?
and the covenant that he made with us.
Perfect. And because of whom?
Because of Yahushua. Our Savior.
YaHuWaH. And today we were celebrating and remembering that 2,000 years ago, a little bit more, he resurrected from the dead in an uncorruptible body, right?
Yeah.
And he set the ground for the coming resurrection and transformation of our bodies that we are going to be like him. So now you can hear us. Good. Thank you, Corina.
Yeah, welcome everybody.
So welcome and thank you to be with us here. You know, today we are going to check the promise number 5.
Yeah.
Do you remember what are the 4 previous promises?
The first one,
I'm just testing your memory.
taken out under the slavery of Egypt. The second one, he was liberating us from the bonds of the slavery.
Okay.
And the third one, he was redeeming us. He redeemed us.
Okay.
And yesterday, we were going to be his people. I was not looking.
I
I
shall
was
take
not
you
looking.
as my people.
I
Exactly.
was not looking.
Good.
I could do it, but I was not looking.
And can you do it backwards?
Okay. His people.
No, but sitting that side. No, just kidding.
I was going to do it.
Just kidding. So beautiful promises, and I'm going to be repetitive all these days because it's just for us to write it down in our hearts, in our mind. So not to forget that these 7 promises are applicable to all of us, and somehow it's a beautiful summary of the 2-step salvation is to take us out of bondage in order to bring us into the promised land.
Yeah.
And in between the 2 steps, there's a lot of phases that we need to go through in order to be part of the salvation plan.
Yeah.
So let's go as we have done, and let's review the main passage in the book of Exodus, Shemot, chapter 6, verse 6 and 8. And I think after tomorrow, in the last day of the feast, and in the last broadcast, you will need to read this passage by heart. So you need to memorize it. So that's going to be the challenge for you. Okay, so I'm just testing your memory.
Okay.
Okay, so you have some homework to do, and on Tuesday you will need to read it in front of the camera, in front of everybody. And actually, I'm going to do something. So maybe some shorts, so we'll have a bigger audience. So you will have to recite this passage in front of more people.
Okay.
So start practicing.
Okay.
So it says the following, Shemot, Exodus chapter 6, verse 6 to 8. It says like this. Say therefore to the children of Israel, I am YaHuWaH, and I shall bring you out from under the burdens of the Misrites, and shall deliver you from their enslaving, and shall redeem you with an outstretched arm, and with great judgments, and shall take you as my people. And I shall be your Elohim, and you shall know that I am YaHuWaH your Elohim, who is bringing you out from under the burdens of the Misrites. And I shall bring you into the land, which I swore to give to Abraham, to Yitzhak, and to Yaakov, to give it to you as an inheritance. I am YaHuWaH. So the 5th promise is, I shall be your Elohim. I shall be your Elohim. So go ahead. What are your thoughts?
Well, he was trying to help us, to prepare us to be ready so he can be our Elohim. So the previous steps were necessary, were needed. So there is no way that he is going, or maybe, I don't know. But I think that the order that he's doing all the steps is because he's going to be our Elohim, so it's going to be our authority, the focal points of everything. He's going to be the powerful. We are going to recognize him like that. But he is offering to be. He's putting himself that responsibility, that position in front of us. So he is like saying, okay, now I'm this related to you. So, wow. Is something amazing.
You know, at the end, it's as we were discussing yesterday. It's all about relationship. He wants to have a relationship with his people, Israel. And you know, I was thinking earlier today that we, as his people, are compared to a body. You know, each one of us is a member of the body, and all together, being echad, oneness, we are his people. And he wants to have that relationship with his people. But as a body, you know, we cannot separate the body. Each one of the cells, each one of the members, it's part of the body. So if you want to look at it from that angle, from that point of view, when he's saying that I shall be your Elohim to the body, he's also somehow intending to say that I'm going to be the Elohim of each part of you, each member, each cell, and so on. So what I'm trying to say is that even though that he said, I shall be your Elohim to the entire Israel, he's saying that I shall be your Elohim, my Elohim, your Elohim, because we are part of the body. He wants to have that relationship with each one of us individually. And by having that relationship individually with each one of us, and we as being one, being echad, automatically we become that body that also the Elohim of the body is YaHuWaH himself. So it's relationship.
Yeah. And I was thinking about the weight of that announcement because, for instance, when you, maybe, I don't know, a group of children, there is going to be a teacher. And this teacher is going to have some time with a group of children. But it's going to be only for, I don't know, a couple of hours during the day. So it's something that is temporary. But being Elohim is 24/7. So, and it's in the good times and in the bad times. So, and I was thinking that the closest comparison that we can make maybe is like being a father and
Absolutely.
a mother.
I was thinking exactly on that when you said that.
Yeah, because there is a kind of connection that even though maybe a son is not going to talk with the father anymore, things like that, because we know that also we have bad relations in this world because not everything is perfect here. Some relations are broken, but even though they are broken, there exists. And even though maybe in some cases the parents were not perfect, we know that YaHuWaH is the perfect father. So that relation was not going to end.
You know,
It's going to end only if we put a wall.
Absolutely.
But it's not going to be that wall built by him.
But you know, thinking even further, what you're saying is totally right. And I think the example of a father or parents somehow is going aligned to what we are talking in the way that YaHuWaH wants to have a relationship with us. But, expanding that, I would say that the closer the relationship, the stronger the bond there is between people. So, because, parents are 24/7, as well as you said.
Yeah.
But we are sons or daughter 24/7 too.
Yeah.
We cannot cut that bond between a son and a father, even though that we made the decision to go away and to not to see fathers and mother anymore. That bond and that relationship is there.
Yeah.
Still exists. We can say that, with a friend, it's a kind of similar relationship, but it's not that strong. When we're talking about family, I think is the stronger of the stronger bonds, and that's why, when we look back in Bereshit in Genesis, this is exactly what he created. He created marriage, couple, and then family.
Yeah.
You remember the paper that I was writing, exactly in that process.
Yeah.
And when we talk about co-workers or your relationship with your manager, it's also a relationship, but it's not that strong. You can cut it because you are going to change a job.
Yeah.
But, even if you change a job, the connection and the relationship between people is so important because you're not going to remove it. It's impossible because you already got in contact with somebody.
You already knew that person.
Exactly.
So you cannot undo that.
Correct.
So,
but even though that you cannot undo it, since it's not that strong, like a relationship between a father and a son,
forgotten maybe.
It's going to be forgotten. And maybe when you find out the same person, find the same person many years later, you are going to remember.
Yeah, you're going to be happy.
It has happened to me and to you.
And it's going to be like you were talking with that person the day before.
So what I'm trying to imply is that the relationship between people is so important, is a need for our spirit. That's why, when Elohim said it's not good that man to be alone, he was intending for having this kind of social interaction, that connection, that type of relationship. So having said that, it's exactly what he wants to have with us individually as a cell or a member of the body, and with the body in general.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember that you have telling me from some years already this change in the process that and let me start over just for you to follow me, and maybe you can give the example. After doing all of this that YaHuWaH has promised in the first 3 promises, he came to the 4, and this is important because it's showing the direction, or it's the direction of authority. He is doing everything for Israel. He's promising everything to Israel. And the first thing he's saying, I shall take you as my people. So he is in the position of authority, and the first thing he's doing, I shall take you. So you will be mine. And only after that is in the other direction. As a kind of a consequence. Because I took you, I will be your Elohim. But as we were discussing previously in the previous days, it's also a matter of our decision. If we are not willing to allow YaHuWaH to take us as his people, we are not going to become his people. If we allow him to take us as his people, maybe we are going to get only until there, and we are not going to get to the next phase that we are going to recognize with a willing heart that he is our Elohim. So you remember some of the stories of the patriarchs, that it took a time for him to recognize that Elohim was, YaHuWaH was his Elohim.
I remember when it was in the case, I think it was Yaakov and some others, when they were always telling, I'm going to pray, I don't know, to your Elohim, or please pray to your Elohim. I think that it was Jacob.
Yes.
It was also in the Kings that we were reading. The other day we were reading one of the Kings, and he was saying, to your Elohim, or to the Elohim of my father. So why? Because they didn't have that connection yet.
Yeah.
So something needs to happen and with Jacob, it was the first time that I noticed that he was saying, your Elohim, Elohim of my father. But at one moment it was after he had, I think that he had YaHuWaH. Because after he has YaHuWaH, he has the strife with the Elohim, and he got the new name, and then he recognized him as, you are my Elohim, you are the one who are giving me and providing me everything. So there is a kind of a step closer to that relationship.
And I think we can relate our own stories to exactly the same. You know, I grew up, and my mom is here in the chat. I grew up in a Christian family. My dad was the pastor together with my mom of the church. You know, my first memories that I have, I was always at church. So, you know, I was receiving knowledge. I was understanding the path. They were instructing me. All the knowledge that I was receiving at church was helping me in order to set the foundation. But I cannot say that I knew YaHuWaH and I could recognize him as my Elohim. Something happened, you know, throughout the years when I got to a certain age and I got a spiritual experience, even though that I was feeling him, even though that I was seeking his face. You know, now that I look back, I cannot say that I had that relationship, that I was able to recognize me as his and he as mine. And I could say that happened, you know, when I was around 13 years old, 12 years old, that I have that experience, spiritual experience, that everything changed for me. But it was even more stronger when, after leaving church for 10 years, approximately between 23 and 33 years old, I never came back to church. I haven't telling my testimony. But, you know, during that period of time of 33 years old, something like that, you know, I have that thirst. I was going through difficult moments. And I have this wonderful encounter once again with him. And now that I think that was a pivotal moment, that it changed again completely, that I cannot deny that was the moment that I can say that I am yours and you are my Elohim. And I think what I'm saying is somehow is the same story.
Yeah, exactly the same.
Your story, and maybe the stories of all of you that are listening to this video now live or maybe later. And you know, I think that's so important, because sometimes in these strong connections or the family connections and family bonds, even though that we are father or the son or mother, daughter, whatever it is, something needs to happen in order to, it's a kind of revelation. It's a kind of revelation that there is an invisible connection that is there, that you can feel it and that you can own it. And as soon as you realize and you wake up to that relationship, everything changes, because you start looking at things with different eyes. And when you do that, your entire behavior change. Your entire feelings change. Because you are start feeling that you are not alone. You are not a separated being.
And you were never alone. Because when you were looking back maybe to some situation in your past, you realized that you were always protected. So, and you just can say thank you, even though at that time I didn't know how to say thank you. It was the moment to say it, and to realize that everything from the moment that we were put in this earth, in the family that we were inserted, everything was working because he was doing all the motion.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, actually. I think this is something so important when we summarize this is that he wants relationship, but that type of relationship that we understand that there is a sense of belonging that is in both directions, recognizing and acknowledging that he's in authority, and because of him we belong. We are not alone. We belong to him, and because of that we can say that you are my Elohim. And sometimes it's so easy to forget in our day-to-day is that we are not alone. And not only in this one-on-one relationship with him, is that since we are part of a body and that body belongs to him, his people, we have co-cells or co-believers that are part of the same body. And in the same way that we have this relationship, we are not isolated, we are connected in the same type of relationship. And this should bring us joy, hope, and shalom. That because he is our head, he is the Elohim of all of us.
And it's like his ruach is being the glue between us, so somehow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So those times that we are going in despair, as Yisra'eel was in Egypt, YaHuWaH did all of this in order to heal their hearts, in order to show them that they were not alone, that they belonged to him. And because of that, Israel was able to say, you, YaHuWaH, are my Elohim. We can do exactly the same. When we are in despair, it's just for us to remember. And I can assure you, the Ruach HaKodesh, even though that sometimes we are so blocked because we are just putting our eyes in the issues, in the problems, in the difficulties, the Ruach is knocking the door all the time with the intention to remind us that we belong to him. And what we have to do in those moments to say, YaHuWaH, I belong to you. You are my Elohim. Your promises are for me. And it was in the past. It is now that your promises are for me. And in the near future, those promises are going to be completed and fulfilled. YaHuWaH, you are our Elohim. Beautiful.
Yeah. And I don't know if it was your case or not, but for me it was like, if I can make a comparison, like Israel when they were entangled in that place, because they were having the armies on one side and they have the sea on the other side. There is a moment in our life, at least in my life, it was like that I couldn't solve anything. I couldn't do anything. I was just asking for his help. And it was the moment that I knew that I couldn't move. And he was the one, like, I don't know, like breaking everything and showing his love and mercy over me. And even though I was a person that maybe didn't deserve his mercy, but he did it. He made me walk through that water. And when you were telling the story about when you were that age, I remember that I was in the church. I also was with my family in the church. And I was watching a lady, and she was giving her testimony. And she was talking about Abba with so much love. And I was like sad. I remember that I was around 13 years old. And I was so sad because I was thinking, that was my thought, I'm never going to feel that because I already was born with the knowledge, transmitted from my parents. And I thought that I was going to live always on that faith, but not on my own. I was thinking how I'm going to get it. I want that. Maybe if I was, because she was talking about being, an alcoholic person and how her life changed completely. And I wanted to have that. And at that moment, it was not my case. And it was years later, over 30 years, I don't know, 33 years, something like that. And I was so, it was like a kind of strange, because it was like around the age where my Mashiach died. And it was something beautiful. And it was like, wow, everybody can have that moment. And it's going to be in the moment that Abba choose for you, and that you allow him to do that change and to take you. There is not an exact moment for everybody at the same time, no. And I think that everybody needs to live that experience by themselves.
Absolutely.
We cannot try to force the people to have the same experience. It's something that when they ask, what has happened to you? What do you believe? Then give our testimony and just share. You can have that too. Look for that. Talk with him, and we can invite them. But it's something that they need to live. We cannot live that for them. Nobody can do that.
Yeah, I was going to share something, but now reading it, I think I'm gonna keep it for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because even though that these are different promises, all of them are connected. And as I said at the beginning, I have been repeating all these days, are part of the two-step salvation. So even though that we see it individually, all of them are working in a collective way in order to give us the entire promise of salvation. So I'm going to keep this for tomorrow. And Camila, you took the words out of my mouth, because I was feeling exactly the same. She said, this is my favorite one so far.
Yeah.
And this is what I was feeling, This is something beautiful when you look at it, the type of relationship of what YaHuWaH is looking for.
Because maybe we are getting closer and closer. So,
And maybe
Yeah,
that's
maybe.
the reason. So that's it from my side. Anything else?
I don't know. I have my heart like it's going to explode.
Yeah, I
somehow.
feel like that. I
Yeah,
think it's a beautiful moment, and it's a
Yeah.
beautiful promise. So I hope that you are feeling exactly the same. So that's it for today. But let me tell you something. That we have been sharing spiritual food,
Yeah. Yeah. That's
and we really hope that this spiritual food is feeding you somehow in the same way that it's feeding us.
Yeah.
Because we are getting somehow a little bit fat with the spiritual food, but that's good because we are eating a lot.
What the
Spiritual food, yes.
okay.
I'm
You-
talking
you-
about we're
okay.
getting fat of
But-
the spiritually fat because of the spiritual food.
Okay.
And then we are getting fat. We
Yeah,
also
also
physically,
the
but
physical. Yeah.
there's a way to
To take care of
it. But it's good to get fat somehow with spiritual food. So we have been sharing so much with spiritual food that be attentive, because in an hour or so, maybe 1.5 hours or so, I need to check, we are going to share physical food.
Yeah.
Okay, let me show you just a sneak peek. So this is going to be the physical food we will share here in the channel.
And we are going to fulfill the promise.
We are going to fulfill the promise to Corinne, especially, that she was insisting so much. And thank you for insisting, Corina. But, be attentive. We are going to upload the video. Most probably we're going to put it as a premiere, so to have a live chat. So we are going to be sharing, this funny video we put together. So that's going to be, this is the time for spiritual food. Now that's going to be the time for the physical food.
Yeah.
So if you have the time, please join us in an hour or so. So
It's
just
going to be like 20 minutes.
22
like
minutes, something like that, just to laugh a little bit. So once again, thank you so much for joining us, for your support, for your love. I hope you are enjoying the Feast of Unleavened Bread in case you are celebrating this week. If you are not celebrating yet, just store these videos.
It's
keep
a
it,
good preparation.
and I think it's a good preparation. You can rewatch those while you are keeping the feast, and I think it's a good way to connect us with YaHuWaH and His Word while we are celebrating His Moedim. So, what time, Corina? I think in an hour and a half,
maybe.
approximately.
As soon
from
as
now.
you return.
Yes, because I need to take care of my kids. The video is still processing for the better quality, so it will take, I will tell you actually, it's done. So I think it's going to be in an hour or so. Okay, so sounds good.
YaHuWaH willing, yeah.
Perfect. So that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. YaHuWaH be with you all. Chag Sameach and Shalom, Shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, Shalom. Shalom, Shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, Shalom. See you in a while.